Booyah!
So after coming back from a weekend at a convention and drinking and generally filling in the Irish stereotype, I came home to realize that there was a huge TF2 update that I could not have seen coming, because people were like saying, oh, it's this week, oh, it's next week, oh, it's next month, oh, it may never happen. But this is the Meet Your Match update. It's finally out, and it's the update where they finally brought in competitive. Thank fucking God. My first reaction was, oh my God, Valve actually give a shit. This is great. I like it. The competitive is actually relatively well made. It's basically the same as beta, except just a few tweaks to make the game just a bit more enjoyable overall, and there's a fair few things that they made a bit better, but overall it's a fairly solid matchmaking mode, and I do think that after a few months of spreading out from the low and high players, that it could become an actual legitimate matchmaking service. But at the moment it's kind of up in the air in the fray, but it's still nice to see that Valve actually gave a shit and made it an actual matchmaking and made it actually integrated into the rest of the game. Like, for example, they've changed pubs into casual games, and casual games are basically where it's just pubs, but they've made it the same UI as competitive, i.e. they've added the 12 players on the top on each side, they've added the whole point-based system, they've added all of it so they can integrate the competitive side and make it seem like it's more of a part of the game rather than some disjointed add-on, which I do like. I do like that. But in the end of the day, casual mode is just pubs, but with a cooler UI. But that's still fine by me. As well as that, there was a few cosmetics added. I don't really care about cosmetics, never really have. There was one weapon added, which is basically just a reskin, and there was a metric fuck ton of balance changes. Now, there was so many balance changes, it almost scared me. In a general class sense, they changed the Pyro's flamethrower, so now it reduces the medigun's heal by 25%. They changed the Demo Man, so the boots no longer work unless you have a shield. They changed the Engineer, so that his teleporter only costs 50 metal from the start now, instead of 125, so you can build more sentries. They changed the medic to be able to match the speed of the person they're chasing, just like the quick fix, making the quick fix a much worse weapon overall. And in my opinion, the most noticeable one, they changed the spy so that he's much faster. He feels faster to players now, and he's actually much quicker at getting behind the enemy team and killing them. So in fairness, I'd call the biggest buff in this term probably the spy. The rest of them are just slight balance changes, but the spy is an actual buff. The rest of them are just kind of, they changed some stuff. They changed a metric fuck ton of weapons. They've changed so much stuff, and I am not a masochist. I am not a masochist, so I refuse to go through all 21 weapons and explain why each of them are different. Fuck that. I'll just put the link in the description where all the balance changes happened, and you can look through it and see what weapons you liked were changed, because fuck, there was a lot, and I just do not want to go through all of that. That hurts me mentally to think about it. Also, in terms of casual and competitive, in both senses they introduced a leveling stat where the more you play, the more you level up, kind of adding a sense of progression that TF2 never really had before. Now, it was in beta and competitive, but it never really existed in casual, and now that it's out of beta and competitive, it's kind of there in both sides, and it's an interesting way to add a sense of, I want to play more for this game. Now, if they added incentives for each time you level up, for example, when you level up you get a loot crate, or when you level up you get a random drop faster or something, then that would be cooler. But for now, it's just kind of a meaningless number. In saying that, eventually I think they will add a few cooler new stuff, and eventually there will be a really cool incentive for leveling up. I'd say there will be. In saying that, that's about all I can talk about. There is very little to go over on this update, mainly because a lot of the big things that are here now are not new. The casual mode isn't really new, it's just kind of the pub, but they added a better UI to make it look more like competitive. Competitive mode's been out for a while in beta, and most people have talked about it by now. It's just that, but better, because they worked out all the kinks. And 3 of the 4 new maps aren't new maps, they're just maps that were community maps that became official Valve maps, mainly because they're trying to bring in competitive more. The 3 maps that weren't new are all in competitive rotation in somewhere, like 2 of them are in 6s, 1 of them is in Highlander. So clearly this entire update was an attempt to try and integrate casual with competitive a bit more, and make it so that competitive players might go down and play matchmaking once in a while, and casual players might go up and play matchmaking once in a while. But we'll see how it goes. I actually have no idea how competitive will go down yet. It could go any way, to be honest from here. I literally have no idea. So in saying that, tell me what you think about the update. I personally like it. I like the fact that matchmaking's finally out of beta and they've added some cool new stuff, and there's a cool progression to it now. And also some of the balance changes were necessary, but most of them are way too complicated to go through, to be honest. Anyway, I'll see you again next time, and have a nice day.